April 9th, 1959, Washington, D.C. One of these 7 young men will be the first American into space. These are the astronauts. United States Project Mercury.
The complexity and sheer alignment required to launch humans into space is staggering. Since the 1950s, these efforts have been thoroughly documented across media, and films in particular have offered countless depictions of the space race fever. Yet, few capture the mysticism and mythical aura surrounding these achievements. This is exactly what Philip Kaufman sought to highlight, the pursuit of greatness amid scientific and real-world challenges. Kaufman elevates Tom Wolfe's book, The Right Stuff, by focusing on the daring pilots, astronauts, and their integral partners, weaving a rich tapestry of wisdom, exploration, and invention. The underlying themes that drive this monumental work adhere closely with many grand, history-bound tales, stories that celebrate human curiosity and the courage to pursue the unknown. Kaufman shoulders this ambitious vision, crafting a timeless saga through rich metaphors, symbolism, and fantastical visuals, all seamlessly woven together through masterful editing to create an awe-inspiring tribute to true pioneers. The script avoids excess to focus solely on the ethereal essence of air travel. From the opening words,
"There was a demon that lived in the air. They said whoever challenged him would die."
we sense an unreachable goal, continually resetting itself as thrill seekers test their limits. Here we meet Chuck Yeager, the fearless test pilot brought to life by Sam Shepard, who exudes this rebellious, suave, outside-the-system energy. Yeager is portrayed as a rugged icon, an old-school cowboy who roams the land on horseback, embodying this stoic, masculine creature of the wild.
No. That guy in the corner, Yeager's his name. He's some kind of war hero, shot down 5 Germans in one day. They say he's a natural-born stick-and-rudder man.
In the film's early scenes, Kaufman invokes the Western genre, capturing a rugged, distinctly American mindset that contrasts sharply with the revolutionary technology Yeager must master. He draws a parallel between the pilots exploring space and cowboys conquering the frontier, only now, aircrafts replace horses. The warm hues of the desert sands and the nostalgic love for 1940s Americana infuse these scenes with a timeless quality. After setting up the hunger for space travel, we're introduced to the famed Mercury 7 astronauts. Kaufman heightens their liveliness, using a comedic approach that mirrors the warm, relatable spirit the media sought to capture at the time. Glenn, Shepard, Cooper, and Grissom are portrayed as hotshots, family men, patriots, and constant figures in the spotlight. Their camaraderie and zest for life underscore their shared, unwavering spirit. Their selection tests alone provide for amusing scenes. This section of the film cultivates a shared patriotism that embodies the spirit of NASA. Kaufman enriches this by incorporating the wives, who round out the idealized nuclear family model that the public could aspire to.
Come on, Trudy. Who's the best pilot you ever saw? Huh? Who's the best pilot you ever saw?
Ultimately, these astronauts and their families became symbols of American identity on the world stage, and the film's portrayal of them consistently captures their energy and pride. Despite the light-hearted tone, Kaufman doesn't lose sight of the dramatic aspects. Grissom's alleged failure,
I didn't do anything. I was just lying there. It just blew.
marital struggles,
They owe me. They owe me so much.
and the melodramatic anchor that is the intimacy between the Glens ground the story in realism, preventing it from drifting into sentimentality.
Do you think I'm a Dudley Do-Right? Do you? Yeah? Well.
Kaufman guides us from the quiet stoicism of the Western genre to moments of mainstream comedy, then seamlessly into poignant drama. This range of tones give the film an operatic quality. each aspect is handled with precision, creating a cohesive, holistic experience. Operatic narratives excel when grand ideas are distilled through a focused, insightful approach, here through a wealth of metaphors. From the start, we see Jaeger and those around him silhouetted against the burning sky, casting him as a towering presence in the desert, embodying the spirit of an older America. The film often returns to him after each endeavour by the Mercury 7, as if awaiting a prophetic word from a legendary figure.
It takes a special kind of man to volunteer for a suicide mission, especially when it's on TV. Oh, Gussie did all right.
Notably, the monster he's about to pilot isn't found in a sleek hangar, but in a rugged patch of desert, like a wild Mustang he must tame. The bar, too, is framed as a communal touchstone where these high flyers gather, drift in and out, and eventually, if they fly too close to the sun, are honoured on the wall. A memorable shot of the wall of pilots rattling with the vibrations of Jaeger's bravery adds a charming touch, as if the pilots are cheering him on from the beyond. Mortality is ever present. In fact, the first human figure we see is a literal embodiment of death, a ghostly, angular-faced figure who appears solemnly in pivotal moments, reminding us that these adventurers are, inescapably, staring down their own demise.
More commotion, getting kind of wobbly here.
Kaufman takes a satirical approach to the politics of the era, depicting the so-called American defiance as something often managed by flustered, panicked officials. When the Soviet threat looms large, Johnson is flustered.
Now how in the hell did they ever get ahead of us? All right, gentlemen, I think we're ready.
Only for the projector to malfunction.
Is there a loose plug over there anywhere?
Leaving the aides scrambling for a solution.
Between the forces of good and evil. We're engaged in a struggle for survival. There you go.
Thank you.
This portrayal underscores the disarray with dry wittiness, poking fun at the frailty behind the American bravado. The pairing of Shearer and Goldblum feels like two knights dispatched from a castle to recruit the Mercury 7, but instead, they come across as a bumbling comedic duo.
You keep saying they. Who's they?
The best... Give me that. The best test pilot.
Meanwhile, the press corps constantly hovers around the main characters, like overzealous caricatures, capturing the era's media, annoying, provocative, and desperate for scraps of information. Kaufman never overstates these socio-political dynamics. Instead, we glean them through subtle, inferred hints. To visualize the astronauts' journeys into the unknown, Kaufman embraces a grounded, hard sci-fi approach with a touch of the sublime, capturing the fleeting and mystical. Cinematographer Caleb Deschanel frames his world gracefully, balancing the weight and drama of sweeping wides with the intimacy of close-ups. His eye recalls the work of Western greats like Ford, Hawks, and Sturges, masters of creating cinematic iconography. Women remain in the periphery, just out of reach, as these men are drawn to the sky. The imposing figures confront their obstacles amid striking light and shadow, giving the visuals a painterly quality. Bill Conti's rousing score enriches the imagery. The timeless classical arrangements, with their spirited instrumentation, taps into the chilling wonder of space travel. Kaufman also incorporates grounded, documentary-style footage, providing a much-needed, sometimes darkly humorous respite that breaks up the film's pace. To reinforce this realism, Kaufman and special effects supervisor Gary Gutierrez used detail modeled planes to create a tangible, raw, almost guerrilla feel. The air and space travel sequences avoid the familiar, overused images typical of other sci-fi films that might feel dated over time. Instead, Kaufman wisely shoots these scenes from the pilot's perspectives, focusing on their reactions within the cockpit and cutting only to select striking visuals that hint at the awe-inspiring unknown rather than revealing it entirely. By showing the audience powerful fragments, he invites them to fill in the gaps, sparking their imaginations. Adding to this sense of wonder, avant-garde filmmaker Jordan Belson contributes heavenly abstractions that perfectly capture the mysticism the pilots experience, representing the vastness of undiscovered space and the inexplicable physical phenomena. Who knows what's out there?
I see something strange out here. Oh my goodness gracious, what the heck is that?
One of the film's greatest strengths is its editing. Seamlessly condensing a vast timeline into a 3-hour experience is a feat in itself, especially given the many characters, bold cinematic choices, and historical events involved. While similar epics might use fast cuts to deliver information quickly, Kaufman and his 5 editors choose a more measured, sleek approach, carefully omitting excess for maximum impact. The team understood the power of ellipses. We don't need every detail to grasp the unfolding events. The film moves cleanly from a fatal crash to a reaction, then to the spectre of death, establishing a turbulent atmosphere with precision. The rule of 3 also gets a clever twist. First, we see Jeff Goldblum's character racing down the hall and bursting into a room with a remark.
It's called Sputnik.
We know. Sit down.
Later, the sequence repeats itself after the Soviets increase the pressure.
They've got a man up there, it's Gagarin.
We know. Sit down.
When Goldblum runs again, we expect another humorous exchange, but
Annie, what is it?
we cut directly to Glenn, finally receiving a serious call to action. This recurring image of running feet serves as a smart visual anchor, marking the passage of time during the space race. It keeps the story's momentum up and, more importantly, eliminates the need for excessive exposition. The film's most striking passage unfolds at the climax, a masterful example of cross-cutting that communicates powerful ideas almost wordlessly, relying on the force of sound and movement. In the final hurrah, Kaufman builds anticipation for yet another daring flight by Yeager, steadily amplifying the tension.
You know, I got a feeling this little old plane right here might be able to beat that Russian record.
Simultaneously, we're drawn into an all-American indoor barbecue in Houston, where the Mercury 7 watched his performance with awe, transfixed by a sense of ethereal beauty. Soft glances are exchanged as they realize, beneath this mystical splendor, that they've rewritten history. In the eyes of the public, they've propelled America into the stratosphere. The scene cuts back to Yeager, tearing through the sky in pursuit of this demon. Kaufman subtly reminds us that quiet, lone wanderers, driven by human spirit, continue to push boundaries. This feels like a prophetic call, not to rest on past achievements, but to keep pursuing new frontiers in space exploration. Like Icarus flying too close to the sun, Yeager is forced to eject, and we cut back to Houston. In a fitting tribute, the Mercury 7 slowly looks skyward with a kindred resonance, and we transition directly to a harrowing image of the aftermath of Yeager's trial by fire. As rescuers arrive, fear momentarily fills the air, until the music swells and a medic's jubilant reaction says it all.
Is that a man? Yeah, you're damn right it is.
No dialogue is needed. Complete emotional control is achieved purely through direction and editing, creating a scene that pulses with mythic resonance. While many space films capture the grandiosity of their subject, The Right Stuff stands out for its unique ambition and sensibility. Its extended runtime allows for a propulsive, layered narrative that Kaufman masterfully weaves, with rhythmic contrasts and a seamless interplay between sweeping panoramas and intimate moments, all handled with meticulous care. He understands that focusing on emotions is more impactful than simply recounting facts. It serves as a fascinating artifact, capturing a specific moment in time, and ultimately deserves a place amongst the greatest American films. It not only engages in myth-making, but also offers a subtle critique of it too. Despite its patriotic tone, it never insists that America is supreme. Instead, it highlights a deeper, innate desire for Americans to strive for greatness, warts and all. This is why it's so gratifying to witness Yeager's ambition, the shared spirit of the Mercury 7, and the steady support of the women supporting them. The film shows that while technology, society, and culture evolve dramatically, courage and bravery remain constant in those who drive civilization forward. Ultimately, it's about reaching for the transcendent, making the unknown known. It's such a simple, creative approach that sparks wonder.
The exploration of space will go ahead, whether we join in it or not. And it is one of the great adventures of all time. And no nation which expects to be the leader of other nations can expect to stay behind. We set sail on this new sea because there is new knowledge to be gained and new rights to be won, and they must be won and used for the progress of all people.